Jared. I remember you, Jared. Nice to see you again. Yeah, it'll start to trickle in here, yep. Welcome, everybody. Great to see you. I always get here early, and it's kind of nice being here alone, but it would be strange if I was here alone for the whole hour, but you never know. Thanks for coming. Dark Knot. I don't believe I've seen you before. Andy, I think I remember Andy in Stereo. I'm not sure I've seen Stereo before. I'll just, for people that come early or even on time, I'll just start being a little bit introductory here, and other people will drift in as we go. It invariably happens. This is part of a cycle of meditations that we've been doing. And it's kind of crazy to even go through a sequence because people are going to drop in the middle of it, and people are going to drop in the middle of meditations. But nevertheless, we're doing a little sequence here of meditations. And the stranger part about it is we're using as the object of meditation aspects of our mortality. I've been calling them meditations on mortality. And the reason I'm doing that is that I think it's called a form of exposure therapy. It's an idea of sort of getting used to the fact that we'll have an end to our life, that death and dying and the biological side of all of us are sort of coming out of the closet now, and we're being able to talk about it, and we're being able to maybe prepare for it and appreciate the advantages of being mortal. Now, some of you, it usually happens that there's people that come that have never meditated before. And if one of you is someone, we'll find out, we'll go around and do a quick little check-in. But just to say, kind of by way of introduction, usually when we meditate, there's something that's the object of the meditation, what we kind of put our attention on. And it could be breathing, it could be a mantra, some kind of a sound, it could be something visual like a candle flame. And usually not much happens in a meditation. You just sit there and you put your attention on that object, and that's what happens. Sometimes there are guided meditations where someone talks, and I'm going to do some of that today. We'll start out meditating on the breath, pretty traditional Vipassana kind of meditation. We'll do that for a few minutes. Then, where we are in the sequence of these meditations on mortality, is we've come to one that I'm calling the good death. Now, I don't know if that's a crazy idea. Could there be such a thing as a good death? Or some people would probably say that couldn't be. Death is scary and horrible, and it's just a negative thing. Um, well, I think there are positive aspects to the fact that life has limits. And I also think that if we prepare, there's a way that the actual end itself could be good. And the way I'm going to use that for meditating today is that uh, people who think about this even more than I have, and I've thought a lot about it, one guy in particular, his name is Edwin Schneidman, made a list of 10 features of what he thinks a good death would be like. And what we're going to do is we're going to meditate. We'll meditate on our breath. And after we're kind of nicely calm and settled into the meditation, I'm going to say each of those 10 features of a good death. And for each of you, just hear those words and let it rattle around in your brain. Don't necessarily don't judge it. Don't think, oh, would that work for me or not? Just let it be there. Just like you're going to do with your breath. Just notice it, and then we'll move on. Now, just before we get started, I think maybe we've got a good crew here. We're just a little after the time. And one thing we like to do is to sort of go around and introduce each other. I'm Tom Nickel. My son, Jeremy Nickel, is the guy who set up this Evolver platform. So I'm working for my son. It makes me feel great. I've been meditating for a long time, and to get to lead meditations in VR like this, been doing it for a while now, and it's really means a lot to me. And he started this tradition of, like, let's just go around, and if you want to, just tell us your name and where you are, and if you feel like it's something that you're bringing here today. If you don't want to, fine, just wave, shake your head. That's fine. We'll move on. You can be quiet. You don't have to say anything. And I'll call on the very mysterious R over here to get started. Would you like to let us know your name and where you are, mysterious? Waving, good. Thanks a lot. And if someone does want to check in, also remember, go down to your little panel there and amplify your voice so everybody can hear. It's kind of fun to hear where people are from. Dark Knot, how about you? Where are you from, and what are you thinking about? Good. I'm just glad to have people be, what does that mean, meditations on mortality, and check it out. For those of you who couldn't hear, a little soft, Buffalo, New York, snow belt. I had spent a lot of time in upstate New York myself. I think it's a very stylish avatar you got there, Buffalo. Thanks for being here. And we have a guest in the back. Would you care to tell us where you're from? Anything you're thinking about right now, or should we just move on? How you doing? Thanks for waving. Glad you're here. We have two people sharing a space here. I have Joshua. I think you were here last week too, Joshua. In fact, I think in that place, weren't you? Where are you from again, Joshua?
This is my first time here. My name's Josh. I'm from Des Moines, Iowa. Just
from Des Moines. Okay, there's
interested.
another Josh. Okay. Well, thanks for being here, Josh. You look just like another avatar I saw once. Okay. And how about Dayton? Or no, I first like to get Jared here in the yellow avatar. How you doing? And where are you, Jared?
Hi, I'm Jared, and I am in Fort Worth, Texas.
Texas, Iowa, Buffalo, moving along. Okay, thanks for being here. And Dayton, are you not in Dayton? Where are you from, Dayton? Don't know. We'll leave it at that for now, but Dayton works for me. Okay, I'll take that as something or other. Another guest in the blue. Anything you'd like to share? Get back here, guest. Where are you from? Waving. Thanks for being here. We'll get to the meditation soon, everybody. Just kind of fun if people feel like it. Jay in the very back. Like to let us know where you're from. Anything's on your mind? Okay, Jay. Well, thanks for being here. We'll move on. Also in the back, Brian. Where are you from, Brian? Hi there, waving. Okay, Brian. I'm looking back at Brian. Here's Naz. How about you, Naz? How you doing? Where are you from? Okay, Naz. And again, if people have a good experience with the meditation and you feel like checking out at the other end, you'll be able to do that too. We have a guest right here in the front. Anything you'd like to share? Where are you from?
No.
Yeah, I'm Jack Hagan. I'm from Virginia.
Okay. Thanks, Jeff, from Virginia. For those of you who didn't hear, just kind of nice to hear the geographical spread we got here sometimes. Andy at the back. How you doing? Where are you from?
I'm from Iowa.
Okay. Iowa, another Midwest contingent here. Thank you. And at the very front, that was Joshua, who's been moving around. So thanks a lot. Nice turnout here today. For those of you who came late, I'm going to do a abbreviated reminder that this is a program we're calling Meditations on Mortality. It's to use as the object of meditation aspects of end of life, aspects of death and dying. We've been going through a cycle. We started with other people dying and did kind of a visualization of cemeteries, kind of the epitome of other people dying. We visualized near-death experiences, and we started saying goodbye to some things. We've now come to the fifth one in the cycle of 10, and it's called a good death. And after we've meditated a little bit and kind of settle ourselves down, I'm going to just very briefly state 10 characteristics that people who have thought about this are thinking about, that are characteristics of that could make a good death. Just let those thoughts hang in your mind. Try not to judge them too much, and we'll finish up. Are you raising your hand here, guest in the front?
I was here.
Can't quite tell if you got a question or not, guest. That's okay. Anyway, it looked like you were raising your hand. So why don't we, again, you never know. There are probably people here who have been meditating for a long time regularly. There's probably some first timers. This is a little unusual. Usually in meditation, people put their attention on the breath, and that's how we'll start. But then we're going to add a little bit something to that as we go along. So why don't you get in the position that you want to be in? If you're in a chair, have your feet nice and solid on the ground, and sit up, not slouched in your chair like you're going to take a nap, but not too straight like you're at attention. And get your, I like to put my hands on my thighs separate from each other, but find out what's comfortable for you. And then close your eyes. And then take that first breath from way down deep at your diaphragm and feel it coming in and filling your lungs. And then the first one you blow out, see if you can blow it out through your nostrils. Really feel the air going out. It'll keep your attention on the breath as you feel it going out. And then another breath coming in. So we're just going to be breathing in and breathing out. And when your mind wanders, like it will, just notice that it drifted and go back to the breathing. Breathing in and breathing out. I like to say, especially to newcomer meditators, the idea is not to concentrate very hard and never let your attention wander. Keep your attention loosely on your breathing, going in, going out. When you notice it's drifted away, bring it back. No blame, no criticism. Meditation is noticing when you've drifted and bringing it back. Breathing in, breathing out. Some people who meditate regularly do exactly this. Keep their attention loosely on their breathing for about 20 minutes a day. That's what I do. We'll just do it for a few more minutes now. Breathing in and breathing out. You'll be surprised if you get an itch. It doesn't mean you need to scratch it. You could just notice the itch and go back to the breathing. That sounds crazy. The first time you do it in a meditation, you'll feel like $1,000,000. You'll feel like you defeated itch. Gently on the breathing. Breathing in, breathing out. Plato said the philosopher's task is to prepare for dying. I think it's everybody's task. It's not obvious how to do that. So I think gradually we just try to make death normal. Bring it into our life. Get used to it. Preparing for death isn't just so things will be more comfortable in the last few minutes. It's to reduce fear now, to reduce anxiety now, to make life lighter now. Just the idea there could be a good death. Oh, that's relaxing. There could be a good death. Here's 10 things that could make a death good. Some we have control over. Some we don't. The first one on the list is that the death be natural. There's 4 kinds of death: accident, homicide, suicide. Everything else is natural. People who have thought about death think the best death is natural. Some people think, I'd like to die suddenly in an accident, but all the people left here wouldn't have said goodbye. There would be much sadness left behind. Who does the good death have to be good for? Just the dying person? A good death, don't judge, just let the idea kick around, should be natural. A good death should be mature. The person should have some life experience. They should make it about to 70. Does that mean if someone dies before they're 70, it's not a good death? I think we can make anything into a good death. But I think he's right. It would be better to make it to 70. A good death is expected. We have a little time to get our mind around it and do some things and say goodbye to people. How long would you want for the doctor to say, you have exactly this long to live? Dr. Edwin Schneidman, who made this list of 10 that I'm using right now, one of the world's leading thanatologists, says 1 week. 1 week is the perfect amount of time to know that you're going to die and to deal with what you need to do. A good death should be expected. The good death should be appreciative. We should be focused on the best things of someone's life, not the negatives, not what didn't happen. The whole set and setting and vibe should be appreciative. The good death should be prepared.
Dun, 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 dun.
Okay, could you, if you're going to join us, I'd like you to get back on one of the platforms or I'll ask you to go. A good death should be prepared by getting details taken care of, by getting some of the emotional dimensions taken care of. A good death should be, number 6, accepted. There's a trick, a mental trick we can play. Willing the obligatory, making ourselves we want what's going to happen anyway. Acceptance is the big byword in a good death. I think it can be more. I think we can appreciate the fact that there's limits. A good death is civilized. It's in a space that the person would want, that reflects themselves and their values. The pictures on the wall, whether there'd be flowers there, whether there would be music playing, the people who would be present would make it a civilized situation. That's number 7. Number 8, what makes a good death is the feeling that you've passed something along, that you had some wisdom, that you learned some things, and that at the end you can look back and feel you pass along some of what you learned. The word for that is generative, that something for those younger to build on is part of your legacy. The 9th aspect, according to Edwin Schneidman, of a good death is that it's melancholy, that it's bittersweet, that it's sad, but it was also maybe right, and the time was right. The emotions are mixed, bittersweet. Part of a good death is enjoying how things can be bittersweet. Last, number 10, the idea that the good death would be peaceful, that pain would be managed and controlled as good as possible, that just the people needing to be there would be there. Not a lot of hustle bustle, mostly of what you'd feel in a peaceful, good death would be love. I wonder, as those ideas came out there, you let them into your mind, do they open up the possibilities that there could be a good death? Is that possibility something to think about preparing for? Does that possibility, is it a relief? Think back over what you remember of those factors. Which of the ones really stuck out in your mind? When I talked about civilized and mentioned what would be on the wall and what music would be playing, why don't we stop there for a minute and imagine that for yourself? What would the physical environment look like if you were going to imagine your good death? What music would be playing? Would you have pictures?
I am seeing.
Okay. And now, why don't you put your attention lightly back on the breathing? Let the thoughts go away. And let your breath fill your whole attention and awareness again. Feel a deep breath coming in from way down below at your diaphragm. Feel it going out, the air going out through your nostrils. Breathing in and breathing out. Maybe some of the thoughts from the good death will pop back into your mind. Just notice them. Go back to the breathing.
What the heck?
Breathing in, breathing out. For any of you new to meditation, this is the most normal meditating. Your attention on your breathing. Breathing in, breathing out. But we've put a bunch of ideas in there, and they're going to pop around, and notice them. Notice which ideas stay with you the most, which ideas you liked, which ideas you didn't like. I said not to judge them, but of course you did. I did myself. I put judgment words in some of the statements. See if just for a couple more minutes you can put your attention loosely back on your breathing. Breathing in. Breathing out. When you notice your mind has drifted away from the breath, just go back. Maybe even hear the sound, breathing in, breathing out. And now take one last deep breath in. Slowly open up your eyes. Look around. Some of our fellow meditators on mortality have left, but some are still here. To me, the big secret of VR is that it's social. We can share experiences together, and you all, some of you all, stayed for a death meditation in VR. We put ideas out about what a good death could be. Did a little bit of focus on the breathing. Let's see if anybody wants to share anything about it. Dark Knot, anything about the experience you feel like sharing with us? Not so sure right now if you're... Yeah, I can just barely hear you. If you can see how to amplify your voice there, Dark Knot. Yeah, that's much better. Go ahead. What did you like to share? I just got a system alert on my headset that it's getting too hot. So far, I haven't been kicked out, but I could get kicked out at any time. Anyway, I'm glad that you this was like an unusual kind of meditation, Dark Knot. So thanks for sticking it out and being here, and I'm glad you got something out of it. And I'm going to try to go around before my headset melts on me or something. How about over here with this very mysterious R? Anything you'd like to share about the experience with us? A wave? Okay. Well, thanks for you were here from beginning to end. I hope you got something out of it, and we will be continuing this. I'll say again before I get into headset meltdown that we're going to be doing 5 more of these, and they get a little more challenging as we go. We were kind of conceptual at the beginning, talking about religion and near-death experience and other people, and now we're talking about a good death and saying goodbye, and we're going to move into the physical aspects of dying. That'll be coming up. But before we get there, let's just see. Jordan Stewart wasn't here for the whole meditation, so I'm not. You just come here at the end. Not sure if you have anything you'd like to share. No, okay. And Jared was here from beginning to end. Anything you would like to share, Jared?
Yeah, I had a great time here, and I hope go to the spaceship meditation on Friday.
Yeah, I'm aware of that too. So right, there are some cool activities going on here, and anyway, I just think I think we're getting increasingly creative with the vehicle of meditation. It can be more than just sitting in a cushion, and the overview effect and the idea of meditating and seeing the earth from an overview position. A lot of interesting things happen, and so thanks, Jared. Naz, I'm not sure is totally here. Naz's head is kind of down. I'm assuming Naz is not 100% with us. If you are, Naz, anything to share? I don't think so. And Brian, how you doing? Anything that you'd care to share?
This is my first time here. It's my first experience, and it's very helpful.
Well,
Got my
good. Thank
I've
you.
got my own. I'm sorry, my bad.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Gotcha. Okay, well, and I'm continuing. This is kind of what I'm the most interested in, is this idea of, how can we make our lives just a little bit lighter and easier and really more full of love now by accepting, by appreciating, by getting ready for the fact that it has an end. And I have a lot of ways I try to do that, and meditating in VR has been one of them. Someone, I'm not quite sure who that was, but anyway, I won't worry about it right now. Jazz, how are you doing?
You-
Good. Yeah, it was good. It was my first time
You
in
like
this
you like
type of
jazz?
meditation, so I really enjoyed it. It's like to learn um, how to, I kind of came in the middle of meditation. I was not here from the beginning, but it was very calm and makes me understand the death a little bit better.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of not to be scared of
Well,
it.
thanks. Yeah, I mean, again, for people who are newcomers to meditation, there are lots of forms of meditation. I don't have anything bad to say about any of them because I think what really matters is the discipline of allocating a small amount of time every day to kind of a mental workout. It's really what it is. We go to physical gyms and do certain repetitive physical motions to be able to do things. And meditation is about training our mental muscles to be able to have a little bit more ability to manage our own attention, to not quite be so reactive to everything that comes our way. And also, again, just the discipline of saying, I'm going to do this every day and doing it really feels good. So I did TM for many years myself. I have done other forms, and now I'm actually trying to expand the limits of meditation a little bit with this idea of preparing for end of life. Thanks for being patient back here, Andy, at the very back. Anything you'd like to share about your meditation? Not so. Okay. Well, you were certainly patient anyway, and thanks for being here for the whole event. Um, I've pretty much already said what will happen next, which is same time, same station. We'll be moving on, and the week after that, I will be handling this time slot, which is 6 o'clock in the evening in the West Coast of America. So some of you from Iowa and the Midwest, I know it's like 7 or 8 o'clock. This is an evening thing for you. I will be in Cambodia for most of the month of November, and it'll be 8 o'clock in the morning. But I hope to be able to get to good enough Wi-Fi and continue this, for the whole session through. So, I will be drawing on other meditation traditions too, more of a Tibetan tradition at some point. Vipassana is more associated with Southeast Asia, and so on. So I'll, try to do a little educating as we go along too. I'll hang out here just a little bit longer for anyone who wants to come up for any reasons that you want to speak one-on-one. Thanks again for being here. Anyone, other people you know who are into VR, let them know that meditating with a headset on, it sounds crazy, but it's actually, I think, a pretty cool social experience and a cool way to meditate. So thanks for coming. Hi there.
Hey,
I
sorry.
see. Yeah, Ashley, you just showed up at the very end, so I'm
Yeah,
afraid we're
sorry.
just about
Yeah, I
wrapping
know.
it up here. Yeah,
My headset had to update.
yeah. VR isn't quite easily integrated into everybody's real life yet. I know what you mean.
No, no, but you never know. It could be. I
Yeah,
wanted
we'll
to
get
come
there.
to this class. Yeah, we'll get there. It's a little bit of a scary thought though when you think about it.
How so?
Yeah. The fact that before you know it, people could be doing their entire jobs. I mean, some people probably already are. Their entire job, their entire world is in the headset. Or
Yep.
who knows? I mean, the headsets could get so slim you don't even wear a headset. It's just a chip.
I've already seen pictures of some headsets that look very much
Yeah.
like glasses.
Oh,
So
that's a little bit scary.
yeah,
There
so
was a
we're getting
guy.
there.
There was a guy who lived a week using his headset only. Like there was a video on YouTube, and this is
Yeah,
where
I saw
found.
that.
That's why I came here because one of his videos, the video of him being on for the whole week. He played a lot of games. He experienced a lot of things, and one of the things he did was come to this world and come to the meditation, and it seemed to actually help him. So I'm like, might as well give it a shot. Got my
That's
Quest,
right.
put it on,
Yeah.
and like,
Yeah,
did
my
not.
son.
No,
Yeah,
go
my
ahead.
son started this Evolver platform for anyone who wasn't around at the beginning. That's Jeremy Nickel. And early on, you're right, that guy that was in it for a week came here and meditated. And so this platform, it was a different space at that time, was in that video. So, yeah. I guess all I can say about, which is more compelling, VR or the so-called real world is that if the real world is going to compete with VR, good luck. People will put their attention where they get the most rewards. And
Yeah.
if I have really enjoyable social experiences and I have good interactions with people and that kind of thing, then I'm going to spend a lot of time in VR.
Yeah.
I also have plenty of good interactions in the real life too, but they tend to be more geographically limited, although I will be going to Cambodia soon. So there you go.
Have a good trip. I'm
Okay,
sorry I missed
thanks.
out
And
because I really wanted to come to this one, but
I actually make 360 video for VR headsets when I'm in Cambodia. And when you look at it in the headset, it's completely amazing. I mean, it really looks like you're in some remote village with Khmer music being played kind of thing. So that's what I do on the
Wow.
side.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I think I'll definitely be able to show up next week. It's just meditating on mortality. I kind of need that right now, personally.
Yeah, me too. I have been thinking a lot about like what's gonna happen leading up to my death. Because normal people, people normally just want to, die in a bed, go die while they sleep. But you never know how death is. And thinking about never waking. Okay, there are religious people. Me personally, I was born in a religious family, but I kind of lost faith. So my thought of death is feeling pain one moment, and next everything's black, like you're asleep and nothing there's nothingness forever, and the thought of that,
Mm.
not be able to, wake up again or do anything or not be able to move or anything forever, it's a scary thing, and everything has an expiration date, and thinking about it, like we were basically born to die, and everybody, my mom, my dad are all like, "Oh, we're gonna go to heaven and stuff." Like thinking about it, there's no 100% um evidence that there's gonna be an afterlife. There's gonna be a heaven or hell. Or there's gonna
That's right.
be. So in my mind,
Some people can
it,
create that certainty in their own minds, but that certainty doesn't exist in the world.
and the
And some
thought
people
of
find that certainty in their own minds. It's very helpful for some people to have that strong belief.
yes, mm,
When we one of the things that I try to talk about here is what you're really one of the things you're getting at, which is the role of religion. And there's an expression that people use, and it's what we used when we meditated a couple weeks ago here, and it's the idea that they say there's no atheists in the foxhole. What they mean is if you're in a life and death situation, the religious people say, if you're in a life and death situation, you'll scream out for God's help. The evidence actually shows in some cases that's true. There are some people who think they're atheists, and when they are in an incredibly difficult life and death situation, scream out for God's help. But the reverse happens also. Sometimes people who think they're religious find themselves in a situation like that, and they go, "Oh my God, if something like this can happen, I don't even believe in God anymore." Some people lose their religion in the foxhole.
Yeah. A lot of
So what
times,
I think
a
is you
lot of
just
people
can't
felt
make any broad
like
statements. You never know how an individual person is going to react to a life and death moment,
Yeah, a lot of
yeah,
people lost their faith in God after 9/11. I remember seeing the headlines.
I believe that's true, yes. Yeah.
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 And me personally, I just lost. Sorry.
I'd be willing to bet that a lot of people found God after 9/11 too. Oh,
We're here to support you, all of us.
Yeah,
It
we've
has nothing to
all
do with it has nothing to do with 9/11. It's just that very recently lost my mom.
mm. Almost always in these events, a number of people have recent losses. It's inevitable that it's going to happen, and it means it makes your own mortality more salient too. So you're in touch with the sadness and your loss, but also your anxieties because it makes it more real. I get it. But to really experience it, don't try to tamp it down. Just say, "Yep, this is what I'm feeling."
I feel like such a
I think that's
I
the
feel
way
like
to not just to get through it, but to come out the other side like stronger.
I feel like such a freak trying to virtual people that I don't know.
no.
Sometimes that can make it easier,
Yeah.
we all we all had a certain loss in life. For me, it was the person who raised me. It was my grandpa.
Mm.
My mom and dad walked off on me as a child, and
Oh,
the only person I
no.
ever had was my grandpa. He's the one who raised me. He's the one who took me from Honduras to the United States to have a better future. And one day I come home, my grandma's here crying, telling me that to run to the hospital. It's about a mile away. I go to the hospital, and he's connected to lifelines. He had lifelines and everything. I was young and I didn't know what was going on. And next thing you know, 2 weeks later, he died. And
Hmm.
thinking about it, never be able to talk to him again. It always affected me. But mm,
And am I guessing that your friend who died was not 70? He died young, right? Yeah,
Ouch.
it sure
Yeah.
is. I mean, when things like that happen that aren't supposed to happen, that's what shakes us up the most. 'Cause it's not supposed to go that way.
Right.
At,
Yeah.
at the age of 13, I lost my friend to suicide. He has
Mm.
been having family problems, and he kept on telling me and telling me. And at the time, I just recently my grandpa died, and I was barely even holding myself up, and I was trying my best to help him, give him all the support and everything. But in the end, it wasn't enough, and I got a call from his mom. He went to his. We had this in the yearbook. We have a special page just for him in memory of his name and photos of him being in the football team and stuff. And
Yeah.
you know, there's a difference between people dying at an old age. And there's a difference between people dying young when they shouldn't have.
Mm.
And
There sure is. And I
there's
thought
a
when
lot of
I
people.
said that was the first thing on the list of the good death, I said that for it to be a good death, you should make it to 70. But what if you don't? You know,
Yeah.
like I say, I
My
think
mom
you
was
can make
61.
something good out of anything, but it's just not good to die at 30. It just isn't.
No, no. My
And
mom was
I'm sorry to
61.
hear you say the word when you said, when you kind of said obsessed, Dark Knight, because obsessed makes it sound like you have more thoughts about it than you'd really like to. And yeah, and that is too much. And I'm not a mental health professional. I'm not a psychologist. I'm not any of those things. I'm just a guy. I've had cancer. I've gone through chemo. I helped my mom die, and so all this stuff it's to me it's the deepest and most meaningful part of life, and it's hard to talk about it. It's hard to find a safe place to talk about it. So that's one thing I want to do here. I want to emphasize I can't do therapy or anything like that, but I'll keep talking to you. And I think it's not even talking or therapy. To me, what started to get me stopping obsessing the fact that I've still got
Mm.
cancer in my body, it's behavior. It's what you do. Um, maybe it's
Um,
meditating or maybe it's taking up exercise or whatever it is, you'll find a behavioral way to work out that obsession. I believe you can.
if you don't mind me
So
asking, what the cancer is that you have?
I had a form of blood cancer, a form of leukemia.
Oh
And
God.
and then I did chemo. Well, I did chemo 8 years for it, and the average life expectancy after it was 6 years. So I beat that already. And there's some, but I don't like to look at it that way. I just like to look at it like you don't know. It just is it's completely uncertain. It could come back tomorrow, or maybe I'm just going to be one of the lucky guys that it never comes back. But I'm going to every single day. I'm just going to, I'm going to do the behaviors that keep. The reason that I exercise in the morning, Dark Knot, isn't because like I want to live longer and make my body good. It's because I've learned if I exercise first thing in the morning, I don't have I don't obsess over things. I have better control over my own mind. That's why I do it. Um,
Yeah.
and and so that's it. I got a little formula for every day, and part of it is working with people where I get to talk about things like this and just open up my heart to other people. And it seems crazy that we'd be doing it in VR, but in some ways it could be easier because it's not so easy in real life to talk about this stuff. And it's never you say, gee, you talk to hey, let's talk about, no, it's never the right time to talk about it. They'll like, can't we do this some other time? That's what they'll always say.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
For me, for my mom, it was cancer too. It was pancreatic.
Oh, that one is a pretty rough one. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. She went through 3 chemos, 1 radiation, a surgery. Then she got sick and she had E. coli, but because her immune system tanked already, the cancer came back and it spread into the lining of her stomach.
Yeah, well, that's it. We're learning more and more. The immune system is the whole ball game, and mine's compromised now too. But I try not to let it get in my way. So, like I spend months at a time in Cambodia, so I'm just trying to live as full a life as I can. Whatever.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, this experience is making me think that maybe the type of activity we should be doing would incorporate meditation so that we kind of share a little thing together, and then just make sure that anybody who wants to hang out afterwards can just come and talk a little bit more, because things get stirred up and people want to say what's on their mind. I'm really glad you stayed around, that we've been able to talk like this. Maybe this is what we should be doing.
Yeah, very good experience.
Sharing.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
Well, it's a service to myself. I guarantee you, when I take this headset off and go back into my real life, I'm going to feel like $1 million. I was a hospice volunteer, sitting at the bedside of dying people for about 8 years, with a really pretty famous hospice group called Zen Hospice in San Francisco. And sometimes sitting there with dying people, when I was through with my shift, it's like I didn't need a car. I could almost fly home. It made me feel so good. So anyway, that's how I feel now. And my heart is really full right now. So thank you all for really engaging in human stuff like this. Yeah. Sharing what you did about the death, and talking about some of the difficulties you've had, and talking about your friend's recent death. I'm not sure I quite heard anything from you, Jazz, but you were here for the whole thing, and definitely
Yeah.
engaged. So
Yeah.
Thank you.
I get a feeling that it's time to kind of wrap up now, though. So why don't we just, I appreciate you all, and if we can make it back some other time, I hope to see you again. Thanks a lot.
Mhm.
Okay,
Yep.
bye for now.
Bye.
Bye.
Safe trip. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to make you cry.
I was trying to give you a hug, but like bubble. This is a bubble. There's a personal bubble. You have your
hang on,
personal
I'll turn it
bubble.
off. There we go.
Yeah.
Mm. I'm up for hugs
It's
any
just-
day.
You
Yeah,
too.
I heard.
Ask me.
Yeah. I heard you crying
here.
earlier when he was
Come here.
talking, and I tried to
Yeah.
approach you.
Yeah.
It was, yeah, there we go. Yeah.
Fucking A. It's just like it really isn't. When I tried talking to my friends in school. Oh no, my hand. Okay,
Yeah,
I got it back.
the hands are a little glitchy. They can
Whenever
do
I
that.
try to talk to people about it, right, they always ask like, change the subject. Let's not talk about something too depressing and everything like that. And there really isn't a lot of people I can talk about it, and I'm actually quite opened up. I have to say things. Open. Oh, there was my left arm just died on me.
Oh, it
Just having a
happens.
battery. Ah, fuck! It just died. Now I got my right hand only. Oh, wait,
Mm.
what? I have one hand now.
Well, now it looks like both your hands just kind of went.
Yeah.
The batteries on the Quest controller just need to work. They need to work on that.
Yeah.
Of course,
Oh, yeah.
early 2020,
These
early
batteries are
2020, they're going to get
crazy.
rid of these, and they're going to have hand integration
Oh crap! I can't walk anymore without my left.
without your
I'll be
legs.
back. No, I can't walk without my. Oh wait, crap! I can walk with my legs, but I don't have a small room, bro. Oh crap! That's my. Okay.
You don't
I need to get.
smack in.
I'll be back. I need to get myself some batteries.
Okay. All right, we'll wait here. Uh, yeah, the hand integration, that's going to be fun. Yeah,
You
that's
know,
going to
we
be
can,
extremely useful.
for exercise, it'd be kind of cool to have like a whole body for exercise. It's like you can really like see yourself, or like some kind of mirror thing. Like you can actually like
Yeah.
really use this 24/7, so to say, like exercise, work, everything.
Although with these avatars, how in the world are you supposed to do yoga? Because your avatar is just going to be standing there. It doesn't move the legs.
Yeah,
Well,
maybe they
I
should
mean,
change them too.
even his legs don't move. We're always
Yeah.
So how you're supposed to do a yoga session? Don't ask me. Where are you guys
No,
from?
I'm from Phoenix. I live in Phoenix, but I'm from Bosnia originally.
Okay.
Bosnia. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Wisconsin here.
My hands are
And you're
back.
back.
Oh wow.
And you're back.
Jeez, good
Hello.
shit.
It's getting towards the time where we might have a chance for a certain thing that I really don't want to think about right now. SNOW. I don't want to think about it. We're supposed to have a very wet winter, and I'm like, no, please no.
It's Texas.
My
I'm
favorite place
Texas,
is
so it's
Oregon.
it's six in the morning. It's 57 degrees. At 12 in the morning, it's like the at 2 p.m. It's 90, 100 degrees. That's how
Uh,
it is in Texas.
No,
I would hate
It's
that.
Phoenix same.
winter,
Phoenix is
spring,
the same.
summer.
Yeah.
That's how it is.
Uh,
And constantly, and I have to walk from home from school, so
uh,
yep. I walk to school wearing a hot ass coat, and I will leave school walking like just no shirt at all. It's hot outside.
mm.
That's fun.
Wait, am I
Mhm.
the only teen here? Am I the only one who's going to school?
Yeah, probably. I'm 33.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Damn, I
Oh, I'm
lived
not in school.
for
I finished like
16-year-olds. God.
15 years
Mm.
ago. I finished my school. Yeah. Yeah.
Like, no. Okay, if I tell people my story, literally my life story, nobody will believe that I'm a 16-year-old. I had to. Okay, like the thing is, okay, this is kind of hard to say, but I have a long lost brother I really met, and and she was and okay, my grandma, my grandpa, they take care of my mom's kids because my mom isn't really bigger, so I never really had a brother. So when my older brother came from Colombia to here, I saw him and I was like, Grandma, there's somebody here. And she looked at the man, she looked at him, cry, and I'm like, who is he? Like, he's your brother. And I didn't know that. I was fucking terrified of this man. He was 30 at the time, and I didn't know how to react. I'm like, hello, human, how are you? And the first 2 weeks, he slept in my room. So I had my little corner, small bed over there, and he had this huge bed in the other side of the room. First 2 weeks, he was okay. And then he started to drink. He started to drink a lot and a lot to the point where at 8 p.m. I go to sleep for school, elementary, right? And I was a child, so I sleep early.
Mhm.
He'd come home like around 12, and he's drunk, so he'd beat me senseless. I was sleeping, I was asleep. He'd grab a beer bottle and just start beating me, and I'd wake up crying, blood all over my arms. And my grandma would like wake me up, and she would see my bedsheet filled with, and it's been like that for years. And then I'd taken up boxing and all this stuff, and I'm 6'4" now. I'm taller than he is, so I know how to defend myself. And every single time he comes here, me and him actually don't like not like a playing fight like we and that's no, we really like we fight, and I hit him, he hits me, I get bruised, I get cuts. It's really bad to the point where he almost killed me with a shard of glass from his beer bottle.
Mhm.
He broke it and just put it around my neck, and that's when my grandma just started hitting him. My grandma is okay. She had surgery for cancer, and she is a cancer patient, so she has like cancer in her leg, and she had like, cancer in her liver. She had both surgeries, and thank God she's still alive and everything, but she is very, very delicate. She can't pick up something that's like 5 pounds. That's how bad it is. and for her to stop this fight of men of 200, that's too much for her. That's why that's why I don't like her doing that. And this is like every single day. He'd come home drunk, or just hopefully he comes home sober sometimes, and there are times he comes home drunk. Yeah, I still live with him. I still live with my grandma. He still comes home every single time like around 11 or 12 a.m. And there are times he come home sober, just talking to me like a normal brother should. But most of the time he comes like semi-drunk, where he's just tipsy and just sleepy,
You
and
know,
where he just comes and starts.
at school, I'm sure you have like social workers because you're very, very young to experience such a extremes and to be too responsible. You have to live your life as well. As a 16-year-old, you have to have your interest in your life as well. So, and you're very young. You're not fully even developed. Your brain is developing until you're 28. So you're very young and very understandable. You're amazing, but maybe it's too much for you to go through all of this stress. It would be good
And
if you can share with somebody in person who can actually really help you uh, maybe like solve some problems or how to handle some situations when your brother comes home drunk, or when he leaves the house, or how to deal with grandma, or how to just handle it emotionally, because you're an amazing person. Because I mean, from the way you're talking, I can hear you're very understanding and very, very helpful, and you're very nice person, but you need to have something from your life as well,
thing
and
is
somebody
like,
who understands that as well, like your situation, somebody who's an adult,
yeah, I have
because you don't
co
deserve that.
I have coworkers. I have counselors. I have all this stuff in my school. It's just my brother came here illegally. He came here like illegally. He's trying to become a citizen so that he can give citizenship to my grandma. And then, because I was born here, so I have citizenship. I was born in Galveston, so I'm a citizen. But he was born in Colombia and came here legally. And he's currently going through the process of becoming a U.S. citizenship. And if I told somebody about, hey, he's beating me, all of that would go to waste. Him helping my grandma would go to waste. He would be arrested, and my grandma would hate me for the rest of my life. Like,
So,
like,
so you're afraid of him not getting his papers here, which I completely understand and everything. But some parts, maybe if you talk to social worker or counselor at your school, you don't have to mention all these things that are at risk, but maybe they can help you to handle. Maybe you can go and ask them maybe how to handle somebody who is drunk. You don't have to talk about your brother, but you can mention these issues just to learn from somebody how to handle somebody who comes home when they're drunk, how to avoid any conflicts, or how to actually make something at home before he leaves, that he doesn't drink. Maybe you can talk to him. There is a way you know him better, and you don't have to put him in the risk either. You don't have to mention that it is your brother, but you need to protect yourself and learn about it, because obviously it's not going to stop, because nobody's even trying to stop, and that is somehow satisfying him. But you're not supposed to give yourself for anybody like that.
yeah, I'll do that. I won't say my brother's name, but I'll do that. Thank you.
Yeah, just yeah, I understand that, and I understand that you are concerned about your brother and everything, but you don't have to mention it's your brother. The other thing, confidentiality, they're not allowed to report your brother either. So that's okay too, so they're not allowed if you go to a counselor. I mean, it's if you tell them that he's beating you and he's living with you guys and you're 16-year-old, then DCS is going to get involved for sure, because you're not supposed to experience that at all because you are under 18. So your grandma and your brother are actually responsible for you in this case. If they cannot take care of you, DCS is going to come and pick you up. Of course, if you mention your brother, it's going to actually put him in trouble. If you go to a social worker or counselor, you don't have to mention it's your brother. You can just mention, like, make up a story or of somebody else, or just somehow, like, I mean, you can make up a story, but you just came for advice. So, and then you can use that to help yourself in case like these. And for example, even shelters for youth, they're not allowed to actually kick you out for any reason or report your brother. They have to protect you. So they have to protect you, and you're a child, and you deserve that.
Yeah, you do deserve a safe home life. Every child does. Unfortunately, that's not how the world works these days, and that's really, really sad to say, but it's true. And with the current climate, especially here in the U.S., I have a fear that it's only going to get worse before it gets better. So I'm hoping and praying that your brother gets his citizenship card.
And I'm tired of. There's this quote from a song that I know, and this quote literally means everything to me. It's, I hope to stop the scars that grew at home. When I come home, I don't tell people about this much. When I do tell people about it, they always tell me the same. Why don't you just call the cops on him? Or why don't you do this? But I've never ever told them about him being illegal because I was afraid of them, reporting him.
Yeah.
It's just like.
And I'm sure your brother has some stress as well because he is drinking. So he has some problems as well. I mean, he's solving his problem through alcohol. So there is some sadness in him as well. Unfortunately, he's feeling it the wrong way, unfortunately. But
he has been having this relationship with his girl called Adriana,